I guess that's canon. See that? There's clouds on Kharak. That's not so surprising, but hey. Well, I mean, you need to have water in the air for there to be clouds, so. Anyway, welcome back to the channel, guys. It's me, Bozocow, obviously. Don't know who else you thought it would be. Just here to do some ramblings about Kharak Cup 11. I think technically I'll call it reflections, but you know how this is. I actually just recorded this, but for some reason there was no audio, so. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it means that now that I've run through it all, I kind of have my thoughts organized. I can put it out a little bit faster. By the way, props to anyone who can tell me what game this is. This is obviously from the tournament. But yeah, just put it in the comments below if you know who's playing right here. But yeah, let's talk Kharak Cup 11. First off, I think it was really fun. I think most people who played in it had a really positive experience. Obviously, sometimes, you know, we don't win games that we wish we had, but I think everyone really agrees it was, you know, it was a fun time. This is, of course, the first time that we've done, like, how should I say it? Like an unlocked time tournament, you know, where you can schedule your games whenever you have time to play them. You can play them whenever you want. Excuse me. I'm still sick. Yeah, Kharak Cup 11 made me sick, so obviously it was not good. No, it's got nothing to do with it, obviously. But yeah, so this is the first tournament where you could schedule your games whenever you wanted to, and we've seen what the positives and negatives of that were. Biggest positive, I think, is that we can get more players to join, and I think it's actually it's not unrealistic to hope we might be able to get 16 or more for Kharak Cup 12. That's obviously what we want. That's the ideal because it allows us to put 8 people into the upper bracket, and that's what we really want. Is to get an upper bracket where there's a quarterfinal, a semifinal, and a final. That's like the that's kind of the ideal scenario. So, I think the biggest downside that I felt actually personally was that it's really cool to have a time where you feel like the community has all come together and we're all playing the game at the same time. It's almost like it emulates the feeling of going to a chess tournament, you know, like everyone, I don't know if you've ever done that, but I used to do it a lot, I still do it occasionally, but it's really fun to just like get together with a whole bunch of people and be like, yeah, they're all chess players, they're all as hideous as me. No, I'm just kidding, stereotypes are bad, children, but you know. But you know, it's fun to get together with a bunch of people who have the same interests as you, and you kind of feel like you have that same experience when we play the tournament at one particular time. But obviously, if we can get more players this way, I feel like it's probably better. But the other problem has got to be the time that the tournament takes. Kharak Cup 11 was really long. I think we all know that. And it could definitely have been faster if we didn't do it this way. So I think to find a good balance there, we need to maybe change something about the approach. I was talking about this with Philothanic a couple days ago, and what he suggested was to do a round robin because now we don't have these same problems. In a Swiss section, round 2 is entirely dependent on how round 1 goes, about who wins, you know, who wins what matchups. That's also important. Then it will decide, okay, so who do we want to put together for round 2? But in a round robin, everyone plays everyone else, and so that means that, you know, you can play round 2 before round 1's even finished. You can play them in any order you want. It doesn't matter. What's the problem? Well, obviously that, you know, obviously the problem here is that, well, I mean, if we had, you know, 12 people like we did in Kharak Cup 11, then everyone's got to play 11 games, which is kind of a lot. I mean, that's just for the qualifier, and then we go on to like the brackets. That'd be terrible. So we don't want to do that. But I'm thinking maybe a good compromise for this is to set up sort of a group stage, where you have, let's say, 4 groups. If we got 16 people, that's the ideal, right? And then we're going to say, okay, 2 people from each group will advance to the upper bracket, 2 people will advance to the lower bracket. And obviously the numbers change a bit if we have like 12 contestants or if we have 8. I don't exactly know how it would work just yet, but you know, we'll figure that out. But that way the games can be played in any order we want, but it doesn't mess things up because it's not like it's not a Swiss section. So that could be serviceable, but I'd like to get your thoughts on it. You know, what do you think about that particular approach? I often ask people kind of what their thoughts are, and they don't really say anything, and then after I implement it, they're like, oh, you should have just done this. It'd be super easy. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. But I wish you would have said that, you know, like yesterday, right? So, yeah, just put your thoughts in the comment if you have any idea about that. I like to hear these things. I really do. Let's see. We can talk about the games themselves in Kharak Cup 11. First off, lots of upsets, I feel. We wouldn't have expected Phantom Crash and Evers to get so far as they did. We wouldn't have expected A-Game not to be in the upper bracket. Big shout out to Shrike for making it to the upper bracket, by the way. He's a player I've seen lots of improvement from. But I think the biggest story from Kharak Cup 11's got to be Tomcat getting to the finals. This is his first ever, Kharak Cup that he's ever played in, right? I've said ever twice, but that's fine. Well, that was the name of one of our players, But yeah, we've never seen him like in the Kharak Cup in this kind of 1v1, tournament format. It seems he does very well in it. One thing that I noticed that I didn't really realize about Tomcat is he's got a great mind for series. I didn't know that. I really didn't. But yeah, that definitely seemed to come out. That's one thing that I noticed anyway. So he went undefeated in the qualifier. You realize that? Like, that's not easy to do. And to be fair, he didn't play against A-Game, but other than him, I think he played against every top-tier player that was in the tournament in the qualifier there. So, like, how did he go undefeated? I mean, he's clearly got something going on, right? So that was really cool to see. It was fun to have Catharsis back. He stopped playing for like a couple weeks or something, but we didn't have Garmulator, we didn't have Descara, we didn't have Sparrow. But I'm hoping maybe we can get those players back for the next tournament. I don't know about Sparrow, actually. He seems to have kind of disappeared again. I know I made like a dramatic video about his return. Maybe that was a little bit optimistic. But, I love getting those people playing because it feels like we got the band back together, you know what I mean? Like, to give an analogy for it. Actually, A-Game was telling me about someone who played around launch named Mythic, who was like actually a professional StarCraft 2 player. Maybe like semi-professional, I don't know, but at any rate, he was good at it. So I mean, you can imagine that guy would be owning us all, man. That'd be so cool if he was playing. But anyway, I really think the games in Kharak Cup 11, they had quality, like they were fun to watch. But look at the timestamps timestamps, is that right? Like the time that all of them are. You can go onto YouTube, obviously, look through the videos and just like see how long they are. They're very short, aren't they? Seems like quite a lot of the games didn't even get to 10 minutes. A lot of the series didn't even get to 30. And this is a best of 3 series. I mean, like, and you're saying there's not even 30 games in that, or sorry, 30 minutes in that. Like, what happened? Well, people got wrecked by build orders mostly. I think build orders in this tournament seem to be a lot more important than I kind of wish that they were. This is something that A-Game's been addressing in his mod, and we actually are going to have a mod tournament coming up pretty soon. We don't know exactly the details for that, but it's not going to be one of the Kharak Cups, obviously. But I think the ideal here is that we want the games to be decided based on who's got the best, skill. And build orders and stuff like that are only one dimension of skill in an RTS game. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, and so it's a little sad to see that makes such an impact here. I think most of the players will agree that played a big part in the kind of like the higher tier games in the tournament. So, is there anything that can be like done about it? No, I don't think so. Learn some builds yourself so that you can exploit it more. I don't know. I mean, it's not something that like the community's done wrong. It's not anything like that. It's just it's just kind of how it is. But yeah, it was something interesting that I noted. So I'd like to see longer games. I'd like to see closer games that really feel tense. Like I'm kind of invested in it, and I don't know who's gonna win. It's really close between the two players. I feel like we didn't really get to see too much of that in Kharak Cup 11, which is a bit sad. But I still really enjoyed casting them. Here's an idea I had though, I say that I had it. I mean, actually, I think A-Game was the one who brought it up. But one thing I've noticed is that for a game like StarCraft 2, let's say, they don't think a best of 3 is enough of a determiner of skill to like. Especially to say who the finalists, but even, like semifinals and stuff like that. What if we changed all the bracket matches to best of 5s? What would you think about that? I know that, I don't know this actually, but I suspect. Someone should fact check me on this, but I remember hearing something about how like StarCraft 2 finals are best of 7s or something like that. I could definitely be wrong about this, but I know that a lot of Age of Empires tournaments are like best of like 21 or something. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. I don't think anyone wants to play, at minimum 11 games just to determine one series. But you get the point. It's like for most RTS games, in order to decide definitely a finalist, but even other stages of the tournament, they're going to do a lot more than just best of 3. Tell me what you think about that. But I think we should move to best of 5, especially if the tournament is now being run in this format where you can decide, what time you want your games to be played, because you can schedule a time that you've got, like 2 hours or something. Imagine how many games you can fit into 2 hours. So, and you can even split them up too. I mean, you could play the first game of your best of 3 on one day and the other games on another. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's completely open to you now. There are some interesting complications here, like, well, if there's 5 maps being played now, how does the pick ban work, stuff like that, but I can figure all that out. That's not really a problem. I think it would be probably good for the game if we move to a format where we've got, you know, more games being played in the series, because it gives us more chances to see who is better at series, who's better at reading their opponent, and then who we maybe have more chances to get to see some of that mechanical skill that we really want to have exhibited in the tournaments. Anyway, that's just an idea. Overall, Kharak Cup 11 I think was a big success. What made it a success? Probably just this change, the big change in the format that you can play your games whenever you want to. I think that had the biggest effect on the tournament, but I think everyone really enjoyed it, and it's been good for my YouTube channel, obviously, to have some stuff to cast. And I'm obviously not really worried about getting lots of views. If I were, I'd just be casting 3v3s all day. Really, I just feel like the tournaments ought to be documented, and that's something that I have the ability to do, so that's why I do it. And it makes me more productive, too. I feel like I'm kind of a lazy person, so it's good to have, you know, something that I'm doing. But yeah, I was really happy with the turnout in Kharak Cup 11, and also the way that Kharak Cup 11 turned out. Ha, get it? Thanks for participating, all of you who did. Thanks for watching my silly rambling video. I hope you're not too put off by this type of content. And I'll catch you all next time. Again, put down in the comments what game this is if you know, and I'll do absolutely nothing about it. But hey, you'll feel cool.